What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man fresh from his visit to Vegas and the CinemaCon experience, Jeff Sneider, the Insnider himself. How are you, brother?
4 days in Vegas. Oh my God! Wait, I forgot.
Yes,
Johnny boy.
Right on, man.
4 days in Vegas. I'm exhausted. I don't even know what day it is.
How did you do it without Christian or I there to go and take you out for a late night steak dinner or gamble with you? Did you have to find a bunch of like fucking other losers to hang out with? What did you end up doing to fill your nights?
My one night out was with Scott Movie Mance. We went to dinner at the same place, John. So. Oh,
nice. The steak is great. The potatoes are fantastic. That's awesome. That's so good. Well, good to see that, Scott. Scott was
a good man's impression.
But yeah, we're here to talk about CinemaCon. We're going to get your experience, Jeff. Of course, I couldn't go this year for my own personal reasons, but like I'm so excited to live vicariously through you to hear about what you thought your impressions were, as both as an industry insider, but also as a film fan, to talk about your experiences at these panels. We're also going to get into those trailers. We're going to get into some other news going on outside of Comic-Con as well. So strap in, sit back, relax, and we're going to take care of you today on this episode of the Hot Mic. And real quick, don't forget about the Streamlabs and the Superchats. You want to send in your questions, thoughts, and comments. Streamlabs, Superchats, that's the way to go. We got 2 Superchats already lined up. Streamlabs address right above Jeff's head. It's in the description of the video as well. Yes.
Help me finance this trip, guys, because it's like, God, these 4 days in Vegas, like you're getting the CinemaCon goods now. So
come on, everybody. Send them in, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats. And we got 185 of you joining us right now, just right off the bat. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Hit that bell button. And Jeff, where can they follow you, or where can they subscribe to your newsletter?
theinsnider.com. Thank you.
Go and do it, people. Go and do it. It was great to read Jeff's coverage throughout this thing.
There's more coming. A Universal is coming tonight. I tried to get it out before this podcast. I wasn't quite done. There's just so much news this week, and trying to like make sense of it all. And I want to be comprehensive, but I also have to you can't just cover everything. I'm like one guy, so. Ugh. Yeah.
Well, let's have this conversation right off the bat. Generally, Jeff, now there were a lot. I read Sharon Waxman's breakdown, the Variety's breakdown, a number of these sites talking about CinemaCon, and the overwhelming feeling was that this was a bit of a light CinemaCon. There wasn't as much, you could tell there wasn't as much product. So the studios were there to kind of push all the stuff that they had, but also promise all the stuff that was coming. So you tell me, what did you think overall of the CinemaCon experience here? What was the sense that you got, the energy, the vibe from both the people there and the executives that you were having interactions with?
Nonsense. I mean, come on. It was the same CinemaCon as it's always been. It wasn't like, like people had nothing to show because of the strikes or anything like that. There was plenty to show. There are movies that they were showing from 2025. Things may have to be spread out a little bit more. There may not be three studio releases each weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe there's only going to be 2, and sometimes there's only going to be 1.
Yeah.
Some movies are going to have weekends all to themselves, like a Kong or whatever. But I think that it was a vibe of optimism, right? Okay. Like the saying it goes in Hollywood, it's survive till 25. I think that's what Adam Aron was saying, the head of AMC, which was like, I see a lot of good things coming in 2025 and 2026. We just have to get through this year and we'll be okay.
Yeah, because I mean, the report's saying how much the viewership is down. They have not achieved the pre-pandemic numbers yet. And you see that report that came out a few weeks ago saying how 2/3 of people over a certain age don't want to go back to the movie theaters anymore. So did you sense that this was papering over the cracks, or did you actually believe in this optimism? You're as cynical as I am, but you're a newsman. Did you?
I believe in the optimism. Absolutely. I see a pushback, right? Like Amazon, did a thing that they did not invite me to. Thanks, Amazon. But they did a thing where they're like, we're putting out 11 movies, over this year and next. So it's like, I see streamers actually, embracing theatrical.
Yeah.
You know, like Apple has with its big movies, Killers and Napoleon, and those movies, you know, did okay. I see theatrical rebounding. I see a pushback towards the way that the business has been the last few years, which, you know, I think that's why we are where we are, because of the way the business has been the last few years. So you had a perfect business before with certain windows and everything, and you know, I'm realistic about things, and I understand the importance of streaming, but I don't think that theatrical is going away, and I don't believe any trades who have been beating that drum.
Okay. All right. Fair point. Well, let's jump into things then. Let's start with the Paramount panel here, Jeff. This was on Thursday morning. Chris Aronson, as it was reported, famously riding in on a chariot, Roman battalion, and riding in on a chariot. But he talked about the premium experience continuing to be embraced and said, but we must also improve the non-premium experience, including pricing. And so talked about all of that a little bit. But they rattled off their slew of 2025 and 2026 projects, while also highlighting, as you just stated, how they've gone and embraced theatrical again by putting Mean Girls in the movie theaters and other things they've got coming out here. They talked about the South Park film here they're doing with Matt Stone and Trey Parker and rapper Kendrick Lamar, which is an odd combination. Damien Chazelle's next film was announced. Scary Movie is going to be rebooted here through Miramax and Paramount as well. The Naked Gun series they touched on. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff as well. And then Transformers 1 stuff with Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry. Trailers for If and A Quiet Place Day 1. Smile 2 was highlighted. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 3 as well. But the big thing was Gladiator 2. You got some 5 minutes from what I read of assembled footage here behind the scenes and also scenes from the movie here. So overall, what did you think of Paramount's presentation? And then specifically, what are the things that stood out for you, worked for you here in this presentation?
I mean, I'm a newsman, right? So I put a high premium on news, and Paramount's presentation was chock full of it. I mean, it was insane. It was just an onslaught of news. And so I give Paramount the crown. I thought Paramount put on that best show, because to me, there's even more than trailers. There's nothing more exciting than announcements and news, right? There's nothing more like exciting than like, and they do it so quickly too. They just like fucking toss this shit off. And I realized that Paramount hadn't announced a lot, like outside of Mission Impossible 8 next summer. So they had, you know, room for a lot of announcements.
Yeah.
But I like when they're like, you know, so casually, like Glen Powell is going to star in Edgar Wright's The Running Man. I was like, wait, whoa, like I need a second to like process that and think about that. And it's just like right on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that you can read into is, and I've been predicting this for a while, it's going to happen. The rebound of the theatrical comedy.
Okay.
What do we have next summer? Naked Gun.
Right.
What did they announce? Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Okay. People want to laugh, and they want to laugh together in groups. So I do think that you're going to start to see that kind of stuff, you know, rear back.
Yeah. I
think Gladiator 2 looked great. And I saw, you know, like Greg Elwood, who I, you know, have a lot of respect for. I think Greg Elwood's a really good reporter. I take his opinion seriously. He kind of like poo-pooed it. And he saw some cause for concern, like fearing that, well, they couldn't really get like a story across in this 5 minutes. And you know, you have to normally get it across in 2.5 minutes, right? In a trailer. That's not what I saw. I saw a story. And I thought Mescal looked really good. Denzel looks great. And you know, Denzel isn't just there to be the mentor character, right? Like, he doesn't just take on roles like that. I think that there's more going on there. I thought Pedro looked fantastic as sort of like the film's antagonist. And then you kind of have like, you know, the other two guys, what is it? Joseph Quinn and Fred Heckinger as like the peanut gallery, just like cheering on like the death and the mayhem. I mean, you see the Coliseum full of water, which I did not know that they did.
Yes. Now, I did research on this, Jeff. This actually did happen.
Yes.
They would simulate sea battles with sharks back in the Roman times. They really did do this.
It was awesome. I mean, like, just like a real quick glimpse at that. There's also like, you know, a rhinoceros. There were these baboons. I mean, you know, you're going to get a lot of more like gladiator action there in that Coliseum. It looks hugely expensive. I mean, I think that this movie cost a lot of money. I think this movie cost over $200 million.
Wow. So kind of against the grain of what we were thinking studios might.
I think it's well, I mean, you know, also this was probably greenlit a year or two ago or whatever.
The last
still,
okay.
right, prior to the strikes and everything. But yeah, it's like this is Ridley's sequel to his Oscar-winning movie. Like, they didn't spare any expense here,
Right.
and it shows. And I think it's an absolute shoo-in for a Best Picture nomination. I'll say what the difference is between last year's CinemaCon and this one, and with Ridley Scott. You know, they showed us Napoleon last year, right? And they showed us three scenes, the big like battle scene, you know, stuff like that. And it was like, okay, yeah, this stuff looks amazing, but what's the story in between, right? These big things. And that's what I saw here with Gladiator, is that there's a story.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I've been reading here, it's Paul Mescal is revealed to be a gladiator, and he is not playing the nephew of Joaquin Phoenix's Emperor Commodus here, but he's apparently inspired by what Maximus did. And I think there's a line they played in the footage where he's like, one slave against all of Rome, it's certainly possible.
Well, you see his sword like hanging on the wall, almost like he's retired, Maximus like the rafters, like the jersey in the rafters.
Defeated Rome, whatever. But yeah, there's that. And then Pascal is apparently a guy who formerly ran these gladiator things. Now he was tired of sending men to death, so they turned him into, or wait, no, he was a military man who didn't want to send Roman soldiers to death anymore in these campaigns, so they turned him into a gladiator, and Denzel is the mentor to Mescal. So clearly there is a story, at least the bare bones of a story here, because it is one man against Rome again, but with the help of others to make it happen. So that's going to be interesting to tell the same story, but somehow make it different. But still have the shades of or echoes, shall we say, of the first Gladiator movie.
I thought he was playing Lucius, but I guess not. There was no connection in the footage. Although I think Connie Nielsen, right? Nielsen. I always confuse her and Connie Britton, but
Connie Nielsen, yeah.
I think she was in it.
Oh, in the footage, you saw Connie Nielsen in the footage.
I think she was.
Okay, all right. But your overall take is this looks good. You're excited about it.
Very good. No,
so
it was like
makes sense.
Possibly like the best thing I saw all week. I mean, it didn't make me cry, but like it was. I thought it was excellent. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Scary Movie. Does this excite you? I mean, you're talking about comedies, but Miramax financing this thing. Are they going to find another Anna Faris? I mean, that was such a. Did she come back? What do we do in this situation, man?
I think that would be an interesting move, right? You make the Scary Movie was a parody, really, of like Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that kind of stuff. Well, what are the horror movies nowadays? They're legacy sequels.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's like, do you bring back Anna Faris and make a parody of a legacy sequel? I think that she's kind of perfect. Although, listen, there's a lot of talent out there. I think Rachel Sennett actually would be a really good kind of lead for Scary Movie.
Right.
And I did have one person be like, they should just cast Melissa Barrera because it felt like she was doing Scary Movie in those Scream movies.
Hey, that would be a great way to bring her back to the fold this way. That'd be interesting. Why not just pull it fully tongue in cheek and just cast Mia Goth and have her play the lead and all of that? She could do comedy. That'd be a lot of fun.
Can she do comedy? I agree that could be an interesting kind of meta casting, but I don't know if she is that hilarious.
Yeah, fair point. They real quick as a side tangent, they released the trailer for Maxine. Did you get a chance to see this thing? Did you like this trailer? Are you interested in this trailer? Does it make you excited for the third film in the T West trilogy here?
High West. Yes, it looks great. I think that looked fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I really loved X. Like, I mean, if I was A24 and I would sign him to a deal.
Okay.
Especially off this trilogy, which has been really successful for them. I don't understand people who thought Pearl was better than X, but you know what? Taste is
fair point. But this had pervert written all over it, didn't it? This one kind of, I think. Yes. Am I wrong to say that it titillated your pervert tendencies?
Absolutely. And that, I mean, Ty West's X is a movie for perverts. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I love the cast. I love the music. It's supposed to be super grisly and gory, like, taking after an Italian Giallo movie. It looks like a fun mystery, and it looks like she's maybe murders are being committed.
Yeah. The Night Stalker.
And she's pinning it on the Night Stalker.
Yeah. Three people who are
whoever, yeah.
The two, yeah. So if you don't know about the Night Stalker, you all should definitely watch that Netflix documentary. I think it was 3-part documentary on it. It's pretty intense. So let's move to the Glen Powell part before we move off of Paramount. This is really big news. Him coming in to do a reboot of Running Man. You couldn't have cast a more different person from Arnold Schwarzenegger than Glen Powell. So do you like this? And I think I read your coverage where you said that you think this pretty much affirms the A-list status that Glen Powell is seen as now in Hollywood. Is that correct?
I think he's A- list. I think he can get to A-list after this summer.
Okay.
Right? He has like Hitman. I know is a good movie.
Twisters is coming,
and then Twisters. Right, Twisters is going to be a real test, and he looks great in Twisters. I think Twisters is going to be good. But yeah, let's see how that opens. He's going to get the credit, like, right? If that movie does work, like, he's going to get the credit, and the sky's going to be the limit, because the industry, the town have been so hungry for a leading man like this, or leading men like him and Paul Mescal.
Yeah. What about Damien Chazelle here? There's no news about this project, but coming back to the studio he did Babylon with, rumors that it might be a prison film, rumors that Ryan Gosling could be involved. Have you heard anything in the wind? Are you able to say if you've heard anything?
Hadn't heard that Gosling rumor. I like that, though. That would obviously make a lot of sense.
I saw it online somewhere, but yeah, maybe.
I think he needs to do something completely different. That's for sure.
Okay.
I know he has another script that I think Paramount is doing that's in the works with some other director, but it may have been Ayer. I forget.
It was Heart of the Beast or something. Yeah.
An Ayer project. I forget. But anyways, the idea of him doing a prison movie, I'm into it. You can never have too many prison movies. I love it. Rewatchables just did that episode on Shot Collar.
Oh, right. Yeah. Good film.
Love Shot Collar.
Yeah. All right. Anything else here? Naked Gun, or well, actually, Mutant Ninja Turtles. You had an issue with this. I mean, I worship at the altar of Last Ronin. I think it's a great thing. The R-rated choice is an interesting decision by Paramount. Do you sense that the audience is wanting more harder content, more edgier content, and this is the way to go with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh yeah, I liked the move. I like that they're taking chances with this IP and doing something a little bit different. They're still developing a sequel to that animated, Mutant Mayhem or whatever.
Yeah.
So they don't have to change gears or anything like that. But yeah, I think this is smart. Same way I think Transformers 1 is smart, even if it didn't look like amazing or anything. Like I think that I'd rather see one of those than another fucking Transformers 8 or 9, and it's the same thing that we've all seen in the last few movies. Sorry, no, I just triggered John. Yes, I Transformers 1. You don't want to talk about that one?
Well, I was getting to them. I have a list here, but yeah, I like this idea because it's a prequel, an animated prequel, and so getting us back on Cybertron to meet Optimus Prime and Megatron before they became Optimus Prime and Megatron is interesting. But look, getting Scarlett Johansson, Hemsworth, and Brian Tyree Henry, that's a nice coup of actors to get to be a part of this project.
It's definitely a good cast with ScarJo and Chris Hemsworth and everything. Keegan-Michael Key is Bumblebee, too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like, it didn't feel like Transformers. It didn't feel like this is, that's what it's before they were Megatron and before they were Optimus Prime. It's like, before he was Anton Chigurh, he was just some teenager with a bad haircut lighting things on fire. Like, I don't need to see all that, but okay, yeah, I guess before everyone very serious was a very serious person, they were some goofy teenager or whatever.
The birth of Friend. Oh, yeah.
Before Freddy Krueger molested children, he was a child himself. What?
Burning animals in the backyard. All right, now what about anything from If or Quiet Place Day One? There was an extended trailer for A Quiet Place Day One. Did anything stand out for you for either of those two films?
It's pretty much the same. The thing that I love about that is, right, they have action sequences same as everybody else, but there's suspense to the action sequences.
Nice, yeah.
Right. So I really like that franchise in general. I think Joseph Quinn and Lupita will be a nice addition, and I look forward to exploring more of that mythology.
Right on. And then there was Smile 2. You wrote positively about this reveal.
It looked good. I mean, it wasn't like as horror-y. It was more like, it was just more selling like the surprise and that this is a totally different environment in which the story is being told, right?
Okay.
Like at first I was like, what am I watching? Like, is this that David Lowery, like Anne Hathaway project that was announced? Like, I wasn't sure what the hell I was watching. And then, obviously I saw Lucas Gage and the guy started smiling. I was like, holy shit. So I think it looks very slick. It looks like a lot more expensive than the last one, which was obviously a big hit for Paramount. So let's put some more money into this one.
Okay. All right, but anything more to say on the Paramount panel? Because we'll move on to the Disney panel here next.
Other than Chris Aronson's entrance being incredible on that chariot with a Roman army. No, I'm good.
That's good stuff. All right, let's move on to Disney. Just a reminder, everybody, Streamlabs and Super Chat, send them in. You got questions about all this stuff, send them in. We will answer them in a little bit, but send them in as we go along. The address is pinned in the chat description of the video right above Jeff's head. All right, let's move on to Disney here. A lot happened, of course, is encompassing Marvel as well here, Disney. We had Sean Levy debuting new footage for Deadpool and Wolverine, about 9 minutes, I think, of that footage. Pixar showcased apparently the first 35 minutes of Inside Out 2, which is really surprising. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, fresh off his WrestleMania loss and WrestleMania embarrassing moment by The Undertaker, made an appearance there to debut a sneak peek to Moana 2. Barry Jenkins was there with Mufasa, the Lion King, talking about that as well. So your thoughts overall on this panel? What stood out for you? What worked for you? What specifically do you want to make sure we highlight here?
I mean, I thought it was the weakest panel. I'm surprised that someone in the comments said that, but Disney is always the weakest panel. Like, I mean, It's also about like, what do you want out of these panels? I'll tell you what I don't want: a 35-minute chunk of a movie that I can't finish watching, So like, as soon as that happened, I was prepared to get thrown out of the presentation because I'm like fumbling through my bag for headphones so I can then open my phone and put on like an album of music so I don't hear the movie being spoiled for me. Like, I wanted nothing. I didn't. So anyways, I don't appreciate these long chunks.
Really?
It does no good.
I love that. Okay. All right.
I mean, 9 to 10 minutes is pushing it for me. Gladiator was fine with 5. 9 to 10 is like, okay, that's enough. 35 is too much. So yeah, I tuned out for the entire Inside Out presentation. I mean, we know what that's going to be. It's going to be good.
Seems like a lot of people are saying that out of the 35 minutes that this is like Pixar maybe finding its mojo again, which will be exciting to see for sure. What about the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson presentation? Anything there? They gave him another award. Anything there to highlight or be excited about?
I mean, he comes out dressed like Dom Toretto. With like the white tank top. I was like, is this really like Moana? I don't get it. The song that they played, it was called "We're Back."
Yes, yeah, new Aureli Carvalho song.
Didn't do much for me. It was, like, I don't know if Lin-Manuel did the music again for this sequel or not.
Yeah.
And I know this was originally like a TV show, wasn't it?
Yes, it was going to be a TV show, but there's apparently the rumor is, from what I heard, is that it was 8 episodes and they just cut them together into one movie. And that's what's being released, is the rumor that I've heard from a couple of sources. So,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to say that's what it felt like, because I feel like that's kind of like a cheap and lazy shot, but it didn't seem to have the magic of the first Moana necessarily, but it's still early. I mean, I'm not going to like beat up this movie for one sequence. You don't see Maui in it a lot, though, and obviously, Maui to me is kind of the whole draw.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big presentation. Island drummers, dancers, all that kind of. Did you think it was necessary? Did they sense that maybe?
Yeah, listen, no, it wasn't necessary, not at all. But it was, and Dwayne did a little bit of dancing too.
Yes,
but I like showmanship at these things, and so if I'm going to give the other studios credit, I don't think that this compared, right? Like, I didn't think the dance was as cool as what Universal did with the Wicked lights or Chris Aronson riding in at Paramount, but it was something. It was something.
Okay. All right. Fair point. Barry Jenkins previewing The Lion King.
I can't wait to shut Owen Harrison the fuck up when we talk about the wild robot, motherfucker.
Should I? What's the deal? All right. So Barry Jenkins talking about the Lion King prequel. Anything there that stood out to you, or was it just basically he just presented it?
Yes.
Good to go. All right. Talk
okay. There we. I'll shut you up right now, Owen.
Oh, there we go.
Mufasa. We'd all seen The Lion King. We all knew that story.
Yep.
The best thing about this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They do and they open up and boom, cut to fucking ice, my friend.
Ooh.
This isn't the Sahara. This isn't the deserts.
Interesting.
There are other environments here, which I thought was interesting. So I'm very curious about this origin story because we haven't seen it before. It hasn't been told like the last animated Lion King was. So yes, thumbs up on it. And I think Barry Jenkins, he's obviously been working on it for the last 3 or 4 years. I don't think he's going to disappoint.
Okay, kind of curious. The Moonlight guy doing Mufasa. It's very interesting, which I think he hit on as well. All right, let's move on to the Deadpool stuff here, man. This is massive. A lot of people talking about it. 9 amazing minutes of Deadpool and Wolverine. A lot of F-bombs, apparently. Right, Deadpool has hung up his tights and is now selling cars, but the TVA shows up with Matthew McFadden, and they give him a chance to jump back into his timeline in the MCU and switch timelines. Apparently, there's a Deadpool popcorn bucket that is coming as well. So, what did you think of this presentation for Deadpool? Did you enjoy what you got here in this Deadpool and Wolverine stuff?
Yes, as someone who does not like the first 2 Deadpools.
Oh my God.
Does
How
not.
is it possible? Oh
How is it possible? Deadpool 2 is a horrific piece of shit.
Deadpool is literally you. Are you fucking kidding? Commenting on everything, meta commenting on how the
And
fuck
guess what? People find me fucking obnoxious. Okay.
But you don't find you obnoxious.
The movie is obnoxious. That's why I am encouraged by this move into the MCU. I think it won't just be him. It's like, Hugh Jackman didn't fucking sign up for that.
Right.
Hugh Jackman looks like he's having a blast. It's a totally different side of Wolverine than we've ever seen. I think it's going to be fun, but I do worry because I certainly heard from people who were like, "Oh, this is still like grating and obnoxious," and like,
oh wow.
But yeah, I think it looks better than the others.
Let me ask you something. Christian and I have a bet.
Better director, by the way, John. Really quickly, a better director.
Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Yes. Then the second one. Yes, I agree. Your thoughts on whether, from what you saw, Christian is convinced it's going to make $1 billion. I don't think it's going to make $1 billion because of what you said. I think people are a little tired of the Deadpool shtick, and I don't know if bringing in Wolverine is going to be enough to get it across the finish line. Do you think this film, from what you saw in the 9 minutes, would possibly be in contention to cross $1 billion?
I'm of 2 minds. I mean, part of me is like, okay, it's entering the MCU, and so now it's even more important, and like people have to see it, and Wolverine and fucking Hugh Jackman's back as Wolverine. Like all of this is huge, and that's without God knows what else we don't know about is in this movie.
Right.
So part of me in that way thinks it will, but the other part of me is like, it feels like a little played out the whole because at first it was like, well, fuck Marvel, we're Deadpool over here. Now so now the jokes are just like, well, fuck Disney, and like, I can't believe they let us do this. I worry it'll underperform a little. People think this will be the biggest movie of the year. I'm not quite sure about that.
I'm kind of feeling the same way, which is why I don't think it's going to cross $1 billion. I think people are still out on Disney. I think even if you bring in Deadpool and Wolverine, I think people are still going to be hesitant to go back and watch another Marvel movie. It's got to get incredible reviews. And I have a feeling there will be some top critics who might not like it. And if you're telling me at CinemaCon, where you sit with the press, there were some people in the press saying that it grated on their nerves a little bit, that tells me that there's a possibility this might underperform and not get the best reviews, and it won't cross $1 billion, regardless of what people think in the chat, that I might be smoking something.
Jamie points out that no X-Men movie has ever made $1 billion.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, and Logan only made $600 million, which is great for Logan, but it's never made $1 billion. So, and neither did either Deadpool movie. So, be curious to see what's going to happen with that movie. But you're encouraged by the 9 minutes. That's a positive.
But an R-rated Marvel movie could, obviously it's limiting by nature, right? R stands for restricted, which means as an audience. But on the other hand, that could be enough of a hook. If Joker made $1 billion.
Yeah, but Joker was about something, bro. I don't know if this film is going to necessarily.
Yeah, I get it. Well, here's the issue that this movie will have. Okay. Is all the TVA stuff and all the how much Marvel TV do I have to watch to understand what is going on here? That's the problem that this movie will face.
That's a fair point. Even though Loki is one of the best series, and Loki season 2 was certainly received very well, you might have an excellent point there. How many people are going to be willing to go back and watch both of those seasons in preparation for this movie? We shall see. We also got Captain America: Brave New World. I'm going to hit these last 2 movies, and we'll take a break and jump into other stuff. Captain America: Brave New World. We got essentially Sam being tasked by President Thunderbolt Ross to put together a new team of Avengers. Thunderbolt, they make a joke about him shaving his mustache, and now he looks like Harrison Ford. So, what were your thoughts on this Brave New World footage or Brave New World stuff we got?
Well, I really liked it, but I say that from I will be come clean with you right now. Like I'm a sucker for Mackie, right? I'm a Mackie.
Yeah,
I'm an Anthony Mackie fanboy. So, and what has been my favorite of the Marvel series? Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Right. So I like the grounded MCU. I don't need portals in the sky and alien races. And they're, Kevin said that this is a little bit more grounded, kind of like Winter Soldier was.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said there's a little bit of that stuff because naturally it's Marvel. I thought it looked good. I like the sleeper agent stuff, like getting activated by a certain song, and then you see Isaiah Bradley attack, Harrison Ford and everything. Yeah, I like Mackie. I like his attitude. I like his this character and what this means as far as him picking up the mantle and also being true to yourself and being like, you know what, maybe I'm not Captain America. I don't know.
Is Isaiah Bradley the same actor from The Falcon and Winter Soldier? It is the older Isaiah Bradley who gets activated. Can you say or can you not say?
I think it is. I think it's the same actor. I can't
we'll leave it at that. I don't want you to spoil anything, so we'll leave it at that. All right. And Jeff, answer me the question: is Disney trolling me by putting an asterisk next to Thunderbolts, essentially saying we don't even know if the film's going to happen? Tell me the truth, Jeff.
What do you mean it's happening?
There's an asterisk. Asterisk says, I don't know if it's really happening.
They're filming it now. What do you mean? They're just, maybe they could change it, but I actually think it's kind of cool and that, maybe I don't fucking know what the asterisk means.
A lot of people think it might be Dark Avengers, and that asterisk really means something else, right? It's like saying Thunderbolts, but they're really the Dark Avengers type of thing, maybe a secret name for them. So it's possible.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense to me. I'll tell you what we haven't discussed, though, that fucking rocked.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Really quickly, Alien.
Oh, they showed the Alien Romulus stuff?
Okay. Alien Romulus looks like they chose the right guy. Fede Alvarez, like I've told you, is a pervert. And there's so much body horror in this fucking movie. It creeped me the hell out.
Nice. How many minutes did you get? Do you think
three? Got like 3 to 5 minutes.
Nice.
It felt like.
All right. Well, one last thing on this panel, we went past the 9 minutes. This one was 17 minutes of Planet of the Apes. Did you turn off for Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, or did you watch it?
I half watched it. I didn't put in the headphones for that one, but because I know, like, I'm in. I think it looks good, regardless of what I've heard about the movie.
Okay.
I think it looks good.
Did you come away impressed?
Huh?
Did you come away impressed?
Impressed a little, but it looks just like all the other Apes movies, which left me impressed. That's a great franchise, great trilogy.
I agree. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a quick break, man, and we'll jump into some more panel stuff. Look, there's 600 of you watching this right now. If you haven't subscribed to the Outlaw Nation channel, subscribe down below, hit that bell button as well. We also do the show as a podcast feed, so if you want to search for The Hot Mic, you can subscribe there. And Jeff, where can they subscribe to your newsletter, brother?
At theinsnider.com, THEINSNEIDER.
Okay. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few seconds to talk about some other stuff right after this. All right, man, let's get into it. Let's move on to the next panel here. That's the Warner Brothers panel. I just wanted to hit on 3 of the panels, and then we'll talk about the other ones quickly. But Warner Brothers here was presented by Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. And they were talking about this stuff. They presented Furiosa here. It was presented in 3 separate sections. We also got the Watchers stuff. Trap, the M. Night Shyamalan situation was highlighted here as well. And Beetlejuice, and then Mickey 17 got an extended run of footage. So, Jeff, what did you think of this panel overall? What stood out for you from this panel?
Again, all the panels are pretty good. To me, though, that Christopher Reeve documentary just like shattered me.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought that was emotionally
Superman.
Yeah. Super/Man. So yeah, I think that'll be. I was gonna say that'll be an awards contender, but when you look at Mr. Rogers, Roger Ebert, Michael J. Fox, all these acclaimed documentaries that had me in tears, none of them got nominated. So,
yeah.
I don't think of this as like a vanity thing, but because obviously Christopher Reeve's not around. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it looked fantastic, and he has something that Michael J. Fox doesn't have, right? Which is that he was Superman. He felt invincible, right? It's such a heartbreaking story. I think that's really going to make a difference. And they have the music too, which means a lot. Goes a long way.
real quick, the trailer showed they showed about the courage of Christopher Reeve, the love of his wife, and his devotion to his children. That's what the trailer was about. So just letting you all know, it isn't just about Christopher Reeve, it's about his family and everything that happened afterwards from that horse riding accident for sure. All right, well, what about the other stuff here, man? Anything from Furiosa? Did this make you even more
Furiosa, I think, looks really good. Again, because I'm a story guy, and to me, as you know, I know people think Fury Road's the best movie of the century or the millennium or whatever. It's like not to me. I need more story. The visually, the action is stunning. It's dazzling, but I needed more story, and this feels like it has a lot of story.
You like Mance? It's a 2-hour car chase. I don't understand.
Kind of. That's kind of how I felt about it. And so there's a lot more to explore here. Really like the way this was all done. It was like the trailer was presented within like a 3-act structure.
Yes, the different sections, which may be how the movie is presented, possibly.
What did you think of the Joker trailer, John?
All right, do you want to talk about it now? Yeah, let's talk about it. The Warner Brothers panel. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it. I got the same energy and vibe I got when I watched the Joker trailer from 2019, the first time that Joker trailer dropped. The scope of it, the 70s vibe of it, the places it's going, the fucking shots. I mean, that spotlight coming down on him was incredible. So, and by the end, I'm like, is she a psychiatrist or not a psychiatrist? Are they changing the origin of Harley Quinn? How are they playing with it and adapting it for this particular universe? And that final shot with the fucking smile and the lipstick, I thought was great.
It's an amazing shot, and everybody was talking about that after, right? Everyone was like, oh my god, like gorgeous. I thought it looked really good, but like it lacked the power of that first Joker teaser for me.
Okay.
Maybe because I'm just nervous about the musical stuff, and they're hiding it. Obviously, they're not hiding that it's a musical. There's a lot of dancing, but like you don't see any singing, obviously.
Right, not yet.
I mean, I saw one person theorize, like, could this all be in his head? Is this a hallucination?
Yeah. I mean,
that would be an interesting way to go.
The first Joker movie, you know, his relationship with Zazie Beetz was all in his head. So why wouldn't this possibility exist that this whole romance is in his head completely? And so he sees it in a certain way because he's a warped guy. Or if him and her are together in this romance, how are they seeing it together? As I said, it's Folie à Deux is a shared illusion. Are they both sharing the delusion that they're in this romantic 1950s musical and experiencing it all together?
And that's what the umbrella shot communicated to me. It's like you see that he's clearly holding like a dark umbrella, right? It looks black to me. And then the shot from above indicates all these colorful umbrellas.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there is some sort of psychosis involved or whatever, but it looked good. It just didn't hit me in like a visceral level. To me, the best part of it was when she like goes to touch him, but then pulls her hand back. And says, "Let's get out of here." And he just looks at her, and it's like he's just been waiting for someone to ask him. Right. You know, he's just been waiting to hear these words his whole life. That's what I liked about it. And I'm a big Joker guy. I thought Joker was fucking excellent.
Me too. What are we gonna do about though the writer nerds who are now coming out on social media and coming after the Joker and crying about what the Joker is and what it represents? I saw someone who writes for a number of websites, and he's got big bylines being like, I'm going to kill myself if I have to hear other people talk about how great this Joker 2 trailer is. When do these writers boys stop popping their acne, relax, and enjoy movies?
I got a long text from a friend about it who was just like, dude, I don't want to see the Joker, like how he became the Joker, like his origin story. They shouldn't be trying to get us to sympathize with the Joker. But I mean, he hated the first movie. So obviously we're on different sides of that fence.
Yeah.
The one I wanted to talk about from this presentation, I mean, well, there's two, and we'll save Mickey for last. But Trap,
yeah,
dude, Trap was like. Now, obviously, this was a movie that like they were keeping the log line kind of under wraps for the most part. But like when you see this trailer, and I'm not giving anything away that they're not going to give away in the marketing. Yeah. But it's like Josh Hartnett takes his 12-year-old daughter to a concert. It's like a Taylor Swift kind of concert. I believe Shyamalan's own daughter is the pop star.
Yeah.
And he notices this increased police presence, and so he goes to concessions. He's like, "What's with all the cops and everything? What's going on here?" And then the concessions guy's like, "I'm not supposed to tell you, but this whole concert is a ruse, basically. And there's a serial killer who's been on the loose, and the police hear he's at this concert." right? And then you see Hartnett like rush to the bathroom, and you think he's like going to call for help or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he checks his phone, and he has somebody tied up in his home. Basically, he is the serial killer. So I don't know where it goes from there, but I love that premise. I love that as like Hartnett's sort of big comeback post Oppenheimer. Like, I'm going to cash in on my Oppenheimer supporting role with this, and it looks good.
I heard mixed reactions to her singing. Do you want to opine on it?
Not really. I didn't really pay attention to her singing that much. I mean, I thought it was fine. Actually, I didn't pay attention to the singing, but I thought the song was okay.
Okay. All right. Anything from the watchers that you want to stress or anything there?
I mean, it's a first film. We'll see. I thought it looked okay. But it was also up against like, we saw Smile 2, Maxine. There's like a lot of horror stuff coming, and so this was I think the watchers sort of fell towards the bottom of that pack.
All right, some comedy horror. Beetlejuice. Apparently there was more footage there, giving a little more of the background of how Beetlejuice comes to be in this sequel. Your thoughts?
Yeah, don't need to spend a lot of time on it. I would just say, like, wait until you see Willem Dafoe. wait until you see his character. It's a pretty cool design.
Nice. All right, let's move on to Mickey 17. This one's coming out in January, yet they spent a lot of time on this. I saw some people say they loved it. I saw other people say they thought it was ridiculous and that it was going to blow up the bank. I mean, it was going to sink them. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think?
It's not going to sink anybody, but like, this looked bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I was the only person who thought that. Like,
oh, okay.
Apparently, because my mentions blew up and I was some fucking asshole for shitting on it and all that. But like, this was, I don't know, man. It explained why the release date got moved to January. I'll tell you that much. Like, and I know, like, yeah, it's January. Studios have to release movies in January. They can't just like ignore it because of what it means, but like, it means something. And the accent that he's doing in this movie, Robert Pattinson, who signed off on this? Which studio? Like, when the dailies came in, didn't some studio executive like raise their hands and be like, what are we doing here?
The review I have is I can't place this accent at any place on earth. So what accent was he doing? I don't know.
I'll tell you, like, Matt Donnelly tweeted from Variety. He was like, this is like Joe Pesci doing Tweety Bird. It's fucking bizarre.
Oh man.
And it's just a mishmash of tones. Like, if you ask 5 people at CinemaCon, what genre is this movie? You'll get 5 different answers.
Yeah, I guess, right? Could be sci-fi, could be horror,
comedy, political comedy, thriller. I mean, I think Variety describes it as a thriller. Like, I have no fucking idea what the hell I am watching, really. It looked like a comedic Edge of Tomorrow.
How about Ruffalo and Toni Collette? Do they come out looking good or just super fucking weird as well?
Yes, I mean, I think, listen, these are all good actors, and I've heard Ruffalo is good in the movie. He's kind of playing like a Trumpian figure.
Oh, there we
go. But yeah, I mean, to me, it looked like a political comedy with a sci-fi twist, and that is a combination of words that does not resonate with me.
Fair point. All right, let's move on to these 2 other panels, but real quickly, I'm just going to put the films they talked about, and then you can tell me what you thought if you have anything to say. Lionsgate had their panel. We got to see footage you guys got to see footage from the Michael Jackson biopic, Ballerina footage showcasing Keanu Reeves being in this thing. You got your Crow footage. And the best Christmas pageant ever, which is amidst all the killings, we also have this really fun, lighthearted war.
Well, they have the business with Kingdom Story Company, the faith-based company, and they know how to mobilize an audience. Those guys, and I do think that movie will do actually kind of well.
It's mind blowing to me that you've got one side of your company doing all these shoot 'em ups and violent blow, and then the other side's like, but God is here, and let's have fun with God, So
they did a big thing on the Michael Jackson movie, which I think looked pretty fucking good. Like, this dude Jafar Jackson, he looks like his uncle, he moves like his uncle, he sounds like his uncle. So I think that'll be a huge hit and a potential awards contender as well.
Okay.
Where I was sort of torn was the Aziz Ansari movie, which they made a big push for, right? It's Aziz and Seth Rogen and Keanu. Aziz was great on the stage and everything. He owned the mic. Yeah. And it's a body swapping comedy, but like with angels involved. And Keanu's playing an angel who then gets stripped of his wings. And it just looked a little...
Is it too high concept?
Too high. I was just gonna say high concept and like a little too forced.
Oh, okay.
But I love Aziz and Seth, and like, you know, obviously it's gonna have some laughs.
Yeah, I hope it's good. Anything from Ballerina or The Crow that stood out to you?
What was this? The first one you said? What?
Ballerina?
Ballerina. No, just, you know, that Keanu's back and everything. Crow. I'm starting to come around on it. The footage that we saw this time looked a little bit better.
Okay.
Than the official trailer, I think. But yeah, for the most part, it was just a lot of, you know, action stuff like that. I'll tell you what looked good was the Mel Gibson movie. Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg.
What?
So the whole premise of that one is just like Mark Wahlberg is a pilot. He's transporting a government witness, Topher Grace, and then the witness is escorted by like a government agent, Michelle Dockery, and one of these people is not who they say they are. And Marky Mark is bald.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like you've never seen him before.
Wasn't Dockery on the other flight movie with Liam Neeson? Wasn't she one of the flight attendants on that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is this a bad idea to put her on a plane?
Typecast up. She likes those peanuts up there. I don't know.
I like Dockery. She's a good actress. All right, what's your thoughts though on the Michael situation? You saw the footage, you loved it. So, like you said, awards contender, but the two directors from Finding Neverland came out and said that they got a look at the early script of the film, and it basically excuses Michael from any of these accusations, and basically comes down on the side that he did not do any of this stuff. So when they say they're giving an honest portrayal, is it honest from the Jackson estate point of view, or is it like, what do you think this will come into some trouble here? Because the court case got approved. It is now going to trial with the two kids. It is going to trial this year. The attorneys for the Jackson estate trying to push it past the release date because the film is $155 million. So do you sense that although the footage may be great, do you sense that there are still landmines ahead for this one?
I mean, I think it's obvious. Like, yeah, this movie's being made in cooperation with with Michael's estate and everything like that. And I'm sure the family has given it its blessing. And, you know, the trailer addresses controversy, which I was surprised by. It's not like they're just like glossing over it and pretending that nothing happened. But they're asking you to look beyond the controversy at the man. So I don't know if it actually excuses it or if it's downplays it, or if it is just Michael's version where it's like, hey, I like hanging out with kids, but nothing like this, nothing nefarious happened. I don't know until I see it. But I have to give it credit for even mentioning the word controversy in the trailer.
Yeah, true. Very true. All right. Universal had, as you mentioned, the Wicked presentation, Despicable Me 4 and Twisters. Anything to say from that we hadn't touched on, or anything more you want to highlight from the Universal panel?
Just that I don't know about Wicked, man. And I think that Universal is going to regret not being upfront with audiences that this is like a 2-part movie. Like, it's not that they're hiding it. It's not they're lying about it, but like, you know, I don't know the advertising that it really comes across that you're getting half a story, really.
Wicked Part 1, just like Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's a bad idea. Yeah, I didn't like that initial trailer fully, so I'm very concerned about this.
Do you see men showing up for this movie?
No.
I don't see men showing up at all, dude. I don't like
that women won't come and gay communities won't come, and some straight men might not come. But I agree with you. I mean,
en masse. Like, we showed up for Barbie en masse because of Margot and because of Ryan.
Sure.
But when you're offering me Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, I don't know, man.
And Goldblum, right? Maybe
Goldblum looked great as the Wizard. That's perfect casting, and he's just Goldblum's the fucking man. But
I think it's more better if it's good. If it's good, I think people will show up in huge numbers, and if it gets the right reviews, people show up. But if it gets middling numbers, this thing's going to sink, and then they're stuck putting out the second one, right?
So, kind of. I mean, it sounds like this one. It sounds like they're weighing 2 cuts, like a 2.5-hour version, and then a shorter cut. So,
okay. All right. Anything else that I didn't touch on, Jeff, that you want to make sure we highlight from the CinemaCon experience? Any other footage or any other trailers? Or
wasn't the same without you, Johnny. Next year.
Next year, yeah. Sadly, I had to pull out last minute, but I don't regret it because
I don't know how to pull out.
Huh?
I said I don't know how to pull out. It was a joke.
Good one. All right. Well, we got 10 minutes to our next break, so let's talk about this story because Jeff, we might be on opposite sides on this one. Chris Farley is getting a biopic. This one is being done. Justin Kroll broke this and called this quote a hot package in his Twitter, which I can't agree with. But it is a script that is based on the Chris Farley show, a biography in 3 acts, which I have and it was a great read here. Paul Walter Hauser is being looked at to play Chris Farley, and Josh Gad is being looked at to direct this with Lorne Michaels. It'll be Josh Gad's theatrical debut as a filmmaker, as a director. So, Jeff, your thoughts on this? Do you think this works, or do you think this is going to crash and burn and we'll never see the light of day?
It's a good question. So I just finished writing my item on this right before we got to air. So, you know, I part of me doesn't want to step on the newsletter, but I also know we can't just ignore the story on this. I'm with you, John. I am skeptical. I'm skeptical. Now, I think Paul's a great actor.
Paul is a very talented actor,
amazing actor. Do I see him as Chris Farley? No, I don't. I mean, besides like the kind of obvious physical comparison,
sure.
I don't really see him having that kind of energy or vibe. But you know, then there's the Josh Gad of it all, which is like, is this is this his first movie as a director? Like, I'm worried about that, and I think that's fair to say. And I love Josh Gad; he's always been good to me. On the other hand, okay, Josh Gad is also a man of size, right? And maybe able to relate to Chris Farley, and you know the way that Chris Farley, like him and Spade, had like a little love triangle with a woman. I think like Farley was like in love with her. I can imagine Josh Gad being able to tap into the mindset of like a heavy set clown,
right?
If you will. Then, you know, but then Lorne's involved. The family has signed off. It's based on, you know, Farley's brother's book. So like those are all positives. It's going to be written by Neustadter and Weber. More positives. Right. I think that those guys are really talented writers. So it's tricky. I think that you're right where it's like, is this really a good idea, guys? But in some other respects, it was inevitable. And if that's the case, don't you want Lorne involved? And don't you think Paul's a decent choice? I don't know.
Like you, I think Paul Walter Hauser is an incredible actor. We don't know if he's going to be what role he might have in the Movie Critic, the Tarantino film. So clearly that he's even being looked at is amazing. He's also a professional wrestler, which is great to see. He's also a fellow Schmodown participant, Jeff, with us, a contestant on the show. But he doesn't have the Chris Farley energy. The Chris Farley energy is so unique. It is that big guy. He didn't even have the Belushi. Like Belushi wasn't even Farley. Belushi was a cynical, funny guy, but still very sarcastic. Farley was all love, all huge love, and people wanted to take him home and take care of him. I don't sense that energy with Paul Walter Hauser. It's much more of a look at me. Yeah, right. Exactly. I have that as well. Yeah, it's a great book. And it has that more like look at me energy. And Josh Gad has that same kind of energy too. It's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I think that becomes a bit grating. So my concern is this film will become a fanboy film as opposed to an actual film exploring what happened here and really getting us to care about this character. You've got to find the right actor who exudes the Farley energy naturally. And I know actors are actors and they can all put it on, but you got to exude it naturally. And I don't know that Paul Walter Hauser is the right choice for this, even though I think he's an incredible actor and very funny.
I think he can play the drama more than the comedy, actually. I think you're right that he doesn't have that energy.
He's not going to be banned down by the river and make it interesting. He's not.
Yeah, I agree. I struggle to see that kind of stuff too. Yeah. But like where I do see it working, right? And Jamie and I discussed this today, is like, you know, the final moments of his life, right? Like I think he was overdosing and he was with a woman, I think, and she, you know, I think when he kind of fell to the ground, or if she thought he was just like either being funny or like, you know, passing out. But I think, but before she left, and before he keeled over or whatever, he said something to the effect of like, "Don't leave me." You know, just please don't leave. And I can see Paul playing a moment like that really well.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm of two minds. I'm very curious to see where that lands.
I know people can get mad at me if Paul ever watches this. He'll get mad at me. But like Chris Farley was an attractive dude, even though he was heavy. And
You're right.
And I don't know if I sense the handsome attractiveness from Paul Walter Hauser. And I think that's a huge element. That's why women loved Farley, and he hooked up all the time. The legends are there. Read the books, read the stories. Farley never lacked for female attention. And Hauser has never radiated that anything he's ever done. Again, not that he can't play it.
I think that's fair.
I think it has to be there. You know?
Listen, I think that's fair, and I think before they left Twitter, Paul followed me, Josh followed me, right?
Okay.
Like I could, DM with these guys, and I think they did that because they know I'm honest, and like I'm going to be honest about their project too. And I'm not here condemning this project.
No.
I'm just saying that I am a little concerned. It is,
still open-minded to it, of course, but concerned.
I haven't read the script, and like I said, Neustadter and Weber. I mean, you can't get much better for this kind of movie.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on to something else here before we go to our next break here, man. Nia DaCosta, it was announced that she might be in consideration here she's in talks right now to helm part 2 of the new 28 Years Later trilogy from Sony Pictures. Of course, Nia taking a lot of heat for the Marvels, and then of course people protecting her and whatever you. She's working on that other film she's doing now with Tessa Thompson. And certainly her Candyman, I thought was good, and I think a number of people felt it was good, although other people didn't. Do you like this idea? Do you like her coming in possibly to direct the second installment as a different change of pace? A female Black filmmaker coming into this story to tell it. I like the idea, but what do you think?
I mean, it's an okay hire. I don't love it. I don't love it because I haven't loved the work. I mean, I didn't love the Marvels, although you can't really blame that on her. It's that's a movie made by committee, and she's just there to
That's all fucking.
Candyman, though, like I thought Candyman could have and should have been better.
Okay.
It's not to say that she didn't do certain good, there weren't good things about it as well. And I still think that the best movie that she's made is her debut, Little Woods. That to me is her best work. Hedda is another one where is more like a head scratcher. I mean, that's not on. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if it'll be good or not, but like just a curious choice that MGM would greenlight that movie.
That's terrible.
I think that if you're again, I don't know what this trilogy is. So if you're trying to make maybe a movie with I don't know, that explores this outbreak from like the Black perspective, right, or something like that. Maybe that could be interesting, right? That then she makes it a good hire. But on the outset, to me, it's just like, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Like, why don't you make a good movie first, and then we'll focus on doing a sequel? I know you want to shoot kind of back to back, so But yeah, I just like, didn't we learn our lesson with Halloween?
Yeah,
or sorry, not Halloween, Exorcist.
Oh right, yeah, with right with David Gordon Green. Yeah. Good point. I like it. I like her as the choice. I want to see her do more. So, maybe there's something more she can do in the second installment that could be fun, depending on what we get in the first one. But you're right. They're kind of counting their chickens before they hatch. So where is that going to go? We'll see as it goes along. One last one here for now, and then we'll take a break. This one broke on Deadline just about an hour ago. Radio Silence is attached to direct a untitled comedy pitch package here, with Andy Samberg's Party Over Here banner producing, and Andrew Lanham on board to pen the script. So you were talking about more comedies. You might be sensing correctly what's happening here in the industry, Jeff. So do you like this combo of Radio Silence and Andy Samberg creating something?
Yeah, I mean, the details are vague. It's about a robot comedy. I assume Samberg will play a robot of some kind. But yeah, like I said, I do think it speaks to the idea that there is a hunger for comedies right now in the marketplace. We just needed stars for them.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like because
you think Samberg is a star though? He's the rumored choice, possibly.
Well, he's producing. I mean, it's one of those, like, I'm not gonna attach myself to star until there's like I see a script or something like that. I don't know if this is just a pitch or a script or what, but right. I do think he's a comedy star.
Okay. All right. But a star to put butts in seats is what I'm getting at. Because, I mean, Hot Rod didn't do well. Name me an Andy Samberg-led film
Palm Springs. Well. I mean, Palm Springs. That's not a box office play, but yeah.
That was Hulu, though. That wasn't on that wasn't
right. I got to go get the battery. Go on.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's right here. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll take a break then while you do that. All right, well, we'll come back with a couple other stories and then get into your Streamlabs and Super Chats. So start send if you were thinking about sending them in, send them in now. Streamlabs, Super Chats. We'll be right back right after this. All right. We are back, Jeff. I hesitate to walk into this minefield, but I think we should get it out of the way. OJ Simpson passed away. Anything you want to say?
Like Jamie said, the juice is loose in hell.
I mean, he'd done a number of films, Towering Inferno, and of course the Naked Gun movies. Of course, rushing for 11,000 yards, but most notable for obviously the brutal murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Mark Goldman there. Ron Goldman, sorry. And but in the end, never apologizing, never taking responsibility, even trying to pitch a book called "I Did It," which is insane. And then put in jail for like 9 years when he attacked some of these people selling his memorabilia, or he thought they were selling his memorabilia. But even at the end, when he left prison, he never apologized for anything he did, including the attack on the memorabilia. He kept saying that was my stuff. I shouldn't be in jail for take back my stuff. So people said complicated legacy. I don't know that this complicated. There was a football player who became an actor, then brutally, in my opinion, murdered his ex-wife, and a young man who was there, either her lover or friend. And so there's nothing complicated. The guy was a horrible criminal, in my opinion, who got away with it. And I don't know necessarily we need to feel complicated about the legacy. Am I wrong?
I agree. I think this guy was a piece of shit his whole life. And we just never really got to know it because he was good at football. Did you see the USC story that came out today on Twitter?
Not today. No, I saw the one where they were like saying they were pulling condolences for OJ, and everyone's like, give Reggie Bush his fucking Heisman back if you're going to say this about OJ. But yet, no, what was the other story?
It was from a woman who, due to his death, was now released from an NDA, essentially. And she used to work at USC and at some department of, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And there were 2 cases that USC covered up for OJ when he was a student there.
Fucking hell.
And so she remembers that after he was arrested for the murders, Robert Kardashian and another one of OJ's attorneys came down to USC and gave them a big check to keep these stories under wraps.
Wow.
And it was that he was physically abusive with 2 blondes at USC and sexually assaulted one of them.
Whoa.
So, it's like, okay, if we're going to start covering up for these athletes at 22, 23, like, well, what do you think happens, down the line when they get money and the egos get even bigger? And, it's just, it perpetuates the cycle.
Further proof that Kardashian name gets away with everything, even though they do a lot of dirty shit, in my opinion. All right. And another thing, a sad one here, Eleanor Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's, wife passed away. She directed, of course, Hearts of Darkness, one of the best documentaries about a film ever made, if you guys haven't seen that. But 87 years old here, the wife of Francis Ford Coppola for 61 years. To me, it's sad because I thought she was a really essential part of Coppola making these incredible films. And if you saw a number of interviews with her and with him, it's always there how much he gives her credit,
And rightfully so. Yeah. I mean, it's not even that she directed his documentary or whatever. I think you and I both know great men wouldn't be great men without women behind them. I think Eleanor Coppola, whether she directed Heart of Darkness or not, was certainly instrumental in Francis's career and his life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jeff, you wanted to talk about a story. Will you tee this one up here? This one having to deal with a person with Blitz Bazawule, who is the director of The Color.
Blitz. Yeah, no, just my little scoop this week that Blitz was shopping a movie, and I figured, that it might land at Warner Brothers, and sure enough, it did 24 hours later. But yeah, Blitz is doing a movie about Yasuke, right? Is that how you
Yasuke, yeah.
The first, supposedly the first black man to ever set foot on Japanese soil, and who became like a trusted, right hand to the emperor there, who then made him, a proper samurai or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think
it's a good, like, the timing is right. They've been trying to tell this story for a long time. Chadwick Boseman was attached prior to his death to a version, not this version necessarily. Blitz did his own research and wrote his own script. But yeah, he obviously did color purple for Warner Brothers. So it makes sense that the project would land there, and that Chadwick Boseman project was going to be produced by Mike DeLuca. So he's always been interested in this story in one way or another. And yeah, I think there's also a ton of like casting options, right? Like the other element of this is Shogun.
Yeah, right? I was just going to say, I don't think this happens without the greenlit rather this quickly without the positive reaction people have had to Shogun overall. We've been reviewing it here on the channel. It's gotten great responses. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good buy for Warner Brothers, even though there's no talent, no star attached.
Yeah, maybe Yahya Abdul-Mateen the second could be an interesting choice. Coleman Domingo could be. It could be any number of places you can go.
It's a little too old. I think Keith would be good. Ooh, but I'll tell you who's due for a big role, and maybe it's because he hasn't taken one because he already has one in Peele's next movie or whatever. But like Kaluuya's ready for something.
Oh, Daniel Kaluuya could be in it.
Kaluuya is like, what is this guy doing, and why isn't he doing something bigger?
Yeah, it's fair. I like that idea as well. All right. Any other news stories we need to get into here, brother, that we skipped or missed, or that you want to make sure we highlight? Anything? No. All right. Yeah. What about Civil War? Did you get a chance to see that?
I haven't. I want to see it this weekend. I don't know that I'm going to see it tonight because I have a fucking headache. I'm exhausted, but I think maybe tomorrow night for date night. That could be a good one.
Okay, I recommend it, although I thought the ending was slightly disappointing. Overall, I think it's highly recommended. So if you all were on the fence about it, I will have a spoiler review later on this weekend. What about Challengers? Did you chance to see Challengers or no?
No. Okay. I mean, that doesn't come out for a couple of weeks, though, right?
Yeah, there've been screenings, though. There've been screenings.
I have not been invited to any screenings.
All right. Well,
that was like that's the thing about CinemaCon. It's like, I got some invites to a couple studios, like after party kind of things, and had a nice meeting there with A24. So half of them make you feel like you matter, and then the other half, it's just like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Amazon, we're showing our slate, or Warner Brothers, we're doing now, and no, we're keeping it small. You're not on the list. Like,
are you trying to tell me that Hollywood picks and chooses who they support?
You believe that, folks? So. Yeah, it was confirmation that I'm on the right track with the newsletter, and I still have my name out there and wield a tiny little sliver of power and keep people on their toes, and the trades included. But the other half is just like, it's a reminder. Well, you're not at Variety or Hollywood Reporter, and so you don't matter.
Fair point. I'm assuming you haven't watched any of Fallout, so I will say I recommend that one as well if you guys haven't.
Time. I wish I had to watch my Law and Order.
So which one? The original? Oh my God.
I watched the original NSVU, which is why today's news that organized crime might move to Peacock didn't surprise me. I was like, yeah, it's tough to do serialized with Law and Order where you got to see every episode, and procedural is the way to go.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some Streamlabs super chats here, everybody. Let's Luis Camera Super Acción. The Fantastic Four begins filming this summer. By now, there must be a short list of actors for the juicy Dr. Doom role. Who do you guys think is in it? Well, we speculated for the last few weeks, Jeff. Is there any new name that's been added? Ryan Gosling, Cillian Murphy, any other new name that's possibly been added?
Joe Pesci. No, I haven't heard any other.
Fantastic, huh? Mr. Fucking Fantastic over here.
No other fucking names for you for Dr. Doom.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who they finally announce. Mr. Penguin, and thank you, Luis. Thank you. Mr. Penguin says, do you guys think this is a valid concern to have with James Gunn's Superman, that he is playing it so safe with the movie, with Lex Luthor being the main villain again? I was kind of hoping for someone new. Keep up the good work. Yeah, Jeff, you were in the room. They had the new logo. They didn't say too much about Superman. Were you surprised they didn't say too much? And are you okay with Lex Luthor being the villain yet again?
Yeah, just because I don't care about his other villains.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that those are the stories we all grew up on. Superman versus Lex Luthor. Like, what else am I going to want to see? Just because, Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair point. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying some other name under something was going to be the villain, but James Gunn came out and made it kind of clear that it's going to be Lex Luthor who will be the main villain. So yeah,
Ultraman,
Ultraman, that's it. Yeah, Ultraman. So which is a whole thing. But yeah, you got to go with what's safe if you're relaunching, and this is what's safe. Establish, because clearly you're gonna have bigger plans for Lex Luthor in the universe, so you want to establish him as well as Superman, and that's why you cast Nicholas Hoult. Wiley OFC says, "What's up, Wiley? What are some of you guys' favorite music documentaries? One of my favorites is the Defiant Ones from 2017. Remember, it's hip to be square, Huey. Yeah, music docs, Jeff. Anything good?
I mean, to me, I will always recommend The Devil and Daniel Johnston.
Yeah. The Eagles documentary is great. The Amy Winehouse documentary is fucking great, even though people are using it to bash the young woman who is playing her in the new movie on TikTok. It's horrendous what they're doing to her. The Bob Dylan one, Don't Look Back. That's a great doc if you haven't seen that one either.
Searching for Sugar Man.
Oh yeah, Search for Sugar Man's a good one as well. And the Bee Gees one on Max was fantastic as a recent one. Mike Joyce says, do we need another scary movie? Are spoof movies dead? When was the last good one? Jeff, valid point.
Yeah, it's never been my favorite genre or whatever, but I think between Naked Gun and Scary Movie, yeah, Paramount thinks the spoof is coming back, and clearly there's a lot to spoof.
Yeah, there's legacy sequels, but there is a lot of original horror that is going around that could be fun to explore and make fun of as well. So I think there is enough material to make fun, to use for a scary movie film, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Horror's big now. Lord Baratheon, hey, John and Jeff, have you guys heard how Deadpool 3 has been received in test screenings? I have not heard anything. Jeff, have you heard anything?
No.
Okay. Moving on. John and Jeff from Basho says, you guys are like the two cool uncles I never had. You guys are the best, and y'all are definitely welcome to the cookout. Is that the black cookout or the white cookout?
I think so. Well, I'm flattered. Thank you. I'll bring the hot sauce.
Now get a job, you son of a bitch. I'm your uncle. Mike Joyce says, will OJ be in the Oscars memoriam next year? No! Stop it, Mike. Samuel's thoughts on the new Fallout TV show. Samo, it's great. It's good. Watch it. They stupidly dropped it as a binge. They should have done it weekly on Prime because it is blowing up, and it's going to blow up for 4 days, and then no one's going to talk about it. Who's talking about Three Body Problem? Nobody. That's the mistake you make on some of these shows when you drop them all at once. That's what I'll say. Now and Again Productions. There have been rumors of Edgar Wright directing Sydney Sweeney in a Barbarella remake. Do you think she could appear in The Running Man now with Glen Powell attached, Jeff? Would they reunite those two?
I don't remember Running Man all that well. Is there a juicy female lead role?
Maria Conchita Alonso. She was the one that was helping him. Yeah.
No, if I was Glenn and Sydney, I wouldn't want to reunite on that.
Yeah.
You gotta save you gotta make it special.
Yeah. Lights, camera, super action again. Since CinemaCon 2025 will be huge. Superman, Ballerina, MI8, Mission Impossible 8, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, Naked Gun Live, Lilo and Stitch. Big spend, but we are going. Is it worth it, Jeff? Yeah.
Is it worth it? I mean, yes and no. It depends how much you love trailers and getting to see them before other people, right? Yeah. I mean, I think you objectively get more bang for your buck, like going to a festival where you can see like 25 movies, whereas at CinemaCon you're only going to see 2 or 3 tops. This year we saw The Fall Guy and Babes.
Mm-hmm.
But both of those screened at South by Southwest already. So it's like, I mean, CinemaCon is definitely more affordable than festivals. I've probably only shelled out like $1,000 or $1,100 all in.
Yeah.
But I also drove myself. So no flight.
Right.
You know, no taxis or cabs to the airport or from the airport. So, you know, it's manageable, but it's not cheap.
And the rate at Caesar wasn't bad. When I was going to get a hotel room there, it was only 200, 220, something like that a night. So it's not bad for what you get, because it's a very comfortable room. It's a nice
It's a beautiful room. I mean, it's but yeah, it was like $250 a night, I would say. Maybe $230 with the CinemaCon discount.
Yeah.
Oliver
3748 says, hey guys, how did the effects look in Gladiator 2? Is it super CGI like an Alien Covenant, or are they perfect like in Prometheus? I'm excited.
Why are we comparing Gladiator 2 to Ridley Scott, I guess, but I thought the effects looked great, especially this far out.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. Everything looked legit. Although, I mean, the only thing for me was like I couldn't tell that the baboons were baboons.
Like I had described them in my initial like write up as like these like wolf like monkey creatures. And then I saw people call them baboons, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they have an actual name." But I mean,
those things, yeah. All right, Doug Developer says, "Oh wait, let me take that one down." I know there's 3 more of those, but we'll get to those in just a second. Did I forget how to take stuff down? Jesus, here we go. All right, so Doug Developer says, "Hi Jeff, speaking for the Sonic fans, can we please have a hint of who is voicing Shadow? Campia said that we will really like it. For example, is this voice actor an Oscar winner or nominee? Was he in a Marvel film?" Jeff, what can you say? Do you know anything?
I don't know anything, but if Campia knows, I'll shoot him a message after this and see if he can leak it to me.
There you go. Puerto Geekin.
Just kidding. If I do end up breaking that story, it didn't come from John Campia.
There you go. Puerto Geekin. Oh my God. What's up? Not that what?
My sources. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Puerto Geekin says, could the reason Glen Powell's been cast in the Running Man remake be could the reason Glen Powell's been cast in Running Man is that they are planning to do something very different from the Arnold version of the 80s, something closer to the original story? Yeah, probably. I would imagine, right, Jeff? Because I mean, the original story is much more obscure.
As always, listen, no one is like, I want to ignore the original story and just remake the movie. They all say the opposite. Forget the movie. I'm going back to the original story. I'm a fucking artist. I have no. I imagine they'll try to make it a little bit different than the Schwarzenegger version. I think Glen Powell is obviously a very different kind of performer than Schwarzenegger. A lot more. So yeah, a lot different in a whole bunch of different respects.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Also, reality TV is prime for a skewering like the Running Man film, so it could work 100%.
Did you ever see Series 7?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what I am anticipating this to be like a little bit.
That's a good point.
Series 7's good.
Jenny Steven is here. What's up, Jenny? Hope I'm saying the last name right. Just saying hi and supporting. Oh, thank you, Jenny. You guys keep me going while working every week, laughing or arguing with you all by talking back to the screen. That's the best thing, Jeff, right? If we get them reacting to us, you don't want apathetic reaction, right?
We want loud reactions here at the Hot Mic, baby.
Thank you, Jenny. And I know I owe you an email, Jenny. I'm sorry. I'll get to it. Samo says, I haven't seen Civil War yet, but there has been controversy with the movie, with them crediting footage from a far-right guy named Andy Ngo, who is known to steal footage called the Nazi and transphobic, which is causing many people not to see it. Thoughts? Well, Samo, first of all, you don't know if it's causing many people not to see it. There may be people saying they're not going to go and then secretly going. Just like all those people said they weren't going to buy the Hogwarts Legacy game, and then it was the #1 selling game that year, regardless of J.K. Rowling's troubling transphobic comments. So I just think people aren't really paying attention to that. It's more about the fact, can they handle what they're showing in the movie? So I really doubt a lot of people are aware of this guy or aware of his crediting. I saw the film last night. I paid full price for it last night because I wanted to see the film. I don't care who's credited. I care about what Alex Garland is showing me on the screen. So I personally don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Jeff, any thoughts on this, or do you want to move on from this question?
I don't even know what this is. I know nothing about this. I can't weigh in. Sorry for covering half my face. I just got a migraine.
No worries. Fredtastic says, hey, Hot Mike, want to send some love and talk about our expectations of trailers. I hate trailers that give too much away and nothing to be discovered when I see the movie. Joker 2 didn't reveal too much, and that's exciting.
That's true. I mean, there's certainly a bunch of trailers I saw this week that gave away the whole movie. It felt like, including, I think someone said that to me about Gladiator. They're like, I feel like I don't even need to see this fucking movie now. But I don't know. There was nothing that I really felt like crossed the line or went overboard. But I'm with you that it's like, let's preserve some of the mystery at least.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got here. This one is from Tumbling Tornado. The guy from Secret Invasion and One Love could be good for Yasuke. Yeah, Kingsley Ben-Adir, right? That's not a bad choice for the samurai. Could be interesting.
No, not bad. That's a good call.
Yeah. All right. And then Mr. Datvo says, just finished Kristen Hanna's The Women. She wrote Firefly Lane and The Nightingale, both adapted by Netflix. I heard she just sold the rights to The Women to WB. What do you guys think about this? I'm not familiar with her. Jeff, are you familiar with her? Do you like this idea?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it either. I do remember that announcement vaguely, but yeah, I couldn't really weigh in on it thoughtfully. I'm sorry.
Is this Nightingale different from the one that with
did? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
All
right.
To do it with the Fanning sisters. I think that's the Nightingale she's talking about.
Oh, right on. All right. Raz_Alamhim says, LOL at the Night Manager now getting 2 more seasons. Jeff, I don't think that's a show you've watched. Yes, Night Manager.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Night Manager. Sorry.
I'm excited for it. I liked it, Night Manager. So if it's Hiddleston back and Hugh Laurie back, I'm down. Al Rencha says, thoughts on the asterisk? After Thunderbolts, Feige acting like it will be something big, but seems like just a big plot to draw up excitement.
It's not a little showmanship, You're right, Al. They're like, shit, what can we do to get people a little bit more interested, a little bit more curious, create some mystery around this movie? Throw a fucking asterisk on the title. People will be like, what is that? What's going on?
People are gonna have questions for sure.
You have asterisks for like movie theater marquees.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. Yeah. Al Rencha says, after seeing Dev Patel in Monkey Man, I would love to see him as Dr. Doom or Jon Stewart in Green Lantern. His performance in Monkey Man was great. Well, Jeff?
I mean, isn't Jon Stewart supposed to be black?
Jon Stewart's black, so he can't do that one.
Yeah, and a Dr. Doom. Nah, I didn't really get Dr. Doom vibes from him. He is a really good actor. I thought Monkey Man was just all right.
Yeah.
He's going to get something big. I don't think it's going to be the Jurassic franchise that has been released.
Oh yeah, that's been speculated right this week that he was going to possibly get in.
That rumor is out there, but I've heard it may not be true, but we'll see.
Okay. There's also a rumor that Daisy Ridley has gotten the full script. Do you know anything about that for the Ray movie? Do you think that script's been written and she's got it, or do you think it's kind of like more fantastical bullshit to push?
I'm not sure. I would have to check and get back to you guys next week.
Okay. I don't think Dev Patel would be Dr. Doom, even though I'd love him to play it. If you want to blow up the anti-woke right-wing YouTubers, you put Vanessa Kirby between a Latino man and a man of Indian descent, and I guarantee you they'll explode. So I don't think they'd take that chance. Oliver 3748 said, also, I hope Paul Mescal and Zaddy Pascal make out in the new Gladiator movie, or at least Peck. Weren't the Romans known for being a little free? LOL, a boy can dream. Have a great weekend, guys. Oh, there you go, Jeff. Did you send
that may be on the Blu-ray, the deleted scene, the orgy scene.
Yikes. Wouldn't that be something? All right, that's all the Streamlabs super chats. And as I see my friend getting a migraine, we should probably wrap it up there for this Friday edition of the Hot Mic. Thanks to everybody who joined us today. Thanks for all the Streamlabs super chats. Thanks for the lively chat there. Hope we addressed all the questions you had about the big stories this week. And if we didn't, leave your questions down below in the comments section. Jeff, thanks again, brother. Where can people find you, and where can they find your newsletter?
TheInsnider.com, guys. Thanks for sticking with me and spreading the word. Tell your friends, like, if they're interested in movies and you think that they'd like this podcast that we do, like, maybe chances are they'd like the newsletter as well. Thanks for, you're the best marketing team I've got. So
there you go. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button. Also look for another Geek Buddies episode coming out tomorrow. Mike Vogel is back from Japan. So we're going to talk that X-Men 97 episode 5. We're going to talk about his thoughts on the Joker stuff and what he felt about some of the Marvel news. So there's a lot to talk about with Michael tomorrow. So it'll drop. Also my reviews for Challengers and for what we just talked about. Oh my God, why am I for Civil War? Those will be out this weekend as well. Look for all that stuff here on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, you guys are awesome. We love you madly. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a great weekend. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Peace.
Thank you.